You ever pull up somewhere you think you know by heart? Like, the kind of place that's baked into your bones, only to have some stranger look you dead in the eye and tell you you're trespassing? Like you're the outsider, the problem? Yeah, that's how my last trip to the mountains went down, and let me tell you, I still feel the aftershocks. So, picture this. I'm driving up through the Blue Ridge, the same winding roads I've been traveling since I was a kid, every curve in the gravel rising with memories of summers spent chasing fireflies and learning how to start a fire with nothing but a pocket knife and stubbornness. But this time, I'm not just visiting my family's old cabin. I'm coming to reclaim something, 44 years old and finally ready to put some roots back where they started. That drive is always a little bit like church for me. Windows down, cool air swirling in with the smell of pine, the world falling away as you get higher and the road gets narrower, just the sound of tires crunching stone and that old saying of my dad's floating back to me. When you hear the gravel, son, you know you're almost home. I pull up, kill the engine, and for a minute it's just silence and the ticking of hot metal. That cabin, leaning but stubborn, roof a little rusty, logs darkened by storms and time, still stands like it's been waiting for me. Inside, its dust motes and the faint scent of tobacco, traces of pipe smoke and pine. My initials still scratched into the mantel beside my father's. Proof. Legacy. I unpack a sleeping bag, some food, a few old photo albums, and I get a fire going before dusk, stacking river stones the way Dad taught me, waiting for the crackle to settle that ache in my chest that never quite leaves. For the first time in months, I feel like myself. Not a gear designer from Charlotte. Not a guy with deadlines or bills or a phone buzzing with stuff that's never urgent, but always important. Just a son, holding down what my family built. But peace never lasts, right? I barely get through the first handful of old black and white photos before I hear the crunch of another set of tires on the gravel. Not a neighbor, not way out here at the end of the lane. A silver SUV slides in, gleaming too clean for the woods. Out steps this woman. Corporate blouse, slacks, hair in a bun tight enough to bounce a quarter off, clutching a leather notebook like it's a badge. She sizes me up, the cabin, even my cooler, and lets me have it. You can't be here. That's how she opens. Not even a good afternoon. Just, you don't belong. I tell her it's my family's cabin, been here since the 50s. She sniffs, says she's Margot Finley, president of the Ridgeway Estates HOA. And she's never seen me before, so clearly I must be a problem. She tells me there are rules, occupancy standards, property codes. I'm not approved. She jabs her finger at the cabin, says it's non-compliant. At first, I try to play it calm, explain that the land's been in my family longer than her developments existed, and I've got deeds and tax records to prove it. But she's got this look, like if she says something enough times, it becomes the truth. She tells me I need to leave, and if I won't, she'll handle it. You know the type, right? The kind who believes authority comes with a clipboard and a title. Next thing I know, she's in her SUV, calling the sheriff, watching me like I'm about to loot the place. Every couple of minutes, she scribbles in her notebook and snaps photos, like she's building a case for some crime I didn't commit. The tension, man, it's like static. Finally, I walk up to her window, try to keep my voice steady. She wants to know who gave me permission. I say I don't need it, I own the land. She tells me people like you don't own cabins up here. I'm a danger to the community. Now, I know exactly what she means, but I let her hang herself with her own words. When I call her out, she doubles down, claims she owns the whole ridge, that I'm threatening her by sitting next to a fire pit with a thermos. She calls the sheriff again, making it sound like I'm some kind of menace, even though I haven't so much as raised my voice. At this point, my patience is hanging by a thread. I grab my folder, deed, tax receipts, old photos, set it out on the porch in plain view. If this is going to turn into a showdown, I'm going to be ready. 15 minutes later, the woods fill with the glow of blue and red lights. 2 deputies, one older, one young, both with that seen-it-all look in their eyes. Margot's on them in a heartbeat, ranting about trespass and building codes and danger to the community. The deputies listen, then turn to me. I give them my name, hand over the paperwork. They look it over, stamp, county record, photos, everything. The older one, Sergeant Lowell, says it all checks out. Margot starts in again, shouting that anyone can forge documents, that she runs the mountain, that I'm aggressive and don't belong. The younger deputy, Kincaid, just looks at her, asks what exactly makes her feel threatened. She can't answer. Not really. Just points at me and my truck, as if the make and model are a crime. This goes on for what feels like forever. Margot won't back down. Keeps trying to twist the law to suit herself. The deputies tell her she's got no authority, that HOA rules don't reach onto land they don't own. She calls me a squatter. I remind her that my family built the cabin before her development even existed. The more she talks, the more obvious it is. She's not defending a community. She's defending her sense of power. Her order. Her mountain. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The longer we argue, the more people start showing up. Neighbors, drawn by the flashing lights and Margot's theatrics. Edgar Hensley, ball cap, built like a lineman, and his wife Sharon, arms folded, suspicious. Then Colleen Ramirez, younger, clear-eyed, not buying Margot's act. Margot tries to rile up the crowd, calls me a trespasser, says I'm a threat to Ridgeway. I step up, hold the folder high. This isn't a shack, it's my family's cabin. Here's the proof. Edgar looks to the deputies, who back me up. Sharon mutters she's never seen me before. I tell her, just because you don't see me doesn't mean I don't belong. Colleen calls Margot out, says the HOA doesn't cover my land. So why's she making a scene? The crowd splits, some siding with Margot, some seeing right through her. Margot rants about outsiders, standards slipping, Ridgeway going downhill. I find my voice, not just for her, but for everyone. My grandfather built this cabin by hand. My father raised me here. We didn't need permission or rules. That's not lowering standards, that's building them. There's a murmur, a shift in the group. Colleen steps closer, tells me not to let Margot scare me. One ally in a crowd can mean everything. But Margot? She just digs in deeper. Accuses the deputies of taking my side. Threatens to go to the HOA board, the county, the ends of the earth. Sergeant Lowell's patience snaps. He tells her straight. Any more harassment, and it'll be you we file a report against. That finally cracks her. Not a lot, but enough that you can see it. She hisses, this isn't over. Storms back to her SUV, slams the door, headlights still burning holes in me. The deputies wrap up, tell me to keep my documents handy, promise to come back if needed. The crowd breaks up, Edgar tips his cap. Sharon won't look me in the eye. Colleen offers one last quiet word. Don't forget, you've got roots here deeper than hers. And then it's just me and the fire, the cabin, and the dark. My hands are shaking, not with fear, but with anger and exhaustion and something like relief. I think about my dad, how he always said, never let anyone take what's yours. I look around and realize every inch of this place is memory, every stone in the fire pit, every dent in the porch. This isn't just land, it's blood, history. Tonight, I almost lost it to someone with a title and a chip on her shoulder. But here's the truth. Sometimes winning isn't about shouting the loudest or convincing the most people. It's about standing steady when everything in you wants to run, holding on to the proof, the memory, the dignity that no one can take from you. I know Margot will be back, maybe with new rules, maybe with more noise, but tonight she didn't win. Legacy is louder than lies. If my story hits you anywhere deep, if you've ever been told you don't belong where your roots run, or had to defend what your family built, I hope you remember this. Protect what's yours, not just with anger, but with patience and truth. Don't let the loudest voice rewrite your story. And if you made it all the way here with me, tell me in the comments, where do you stand? Who really belongs when the paper and the history don't line up? Justice, community, or legacy? What matters most? Let's hear it.